I've been teaching handpan for 5 years, and people often ask me, what is the best beginner instrument to purchase? I'm going to try and answer that question today, though it's not always the simplest answer. I'm demonstrating on a Meridian handpan. This is an awesome instrument, and if you want to buy your own, I've got a link below. Which scale should you purchase? I'm going to say it, D Kurd. If you look around on YouTube, you will see hundreds, thousands of tutorials from me and other teachers, all using this same instrument. D Kurd, D Kurd, D Kurd. It pops up everywhere. But why? Even that alone is a reason for buying a D Kurd. Teachers make videos with D Kurds because students have D Kurds. So students get D Kurds, so teachers make videos with D Kurds. It's a real circular system. A lot of handpan players, beginners who have more than one instrument, they will find that one of their instruments is a D Kurd, and that's really helpful for learning. If you can follow along with a teacher and make the exact same noise when they play this note, your instrument makes that note. You don't have to worry about following their hands or reading notation. You can just use your ears. The more experienced you get, those other tools will become much more important, but at first, when you're just learning, it can be handy to have the exact same pitch as the teacher. There are lots of different handpan names: Kurd, Celtic, Pygmy, and other titles like this. But what do they mean? They are a demonstration of how many different notes you have on that instrument. Most handpans have 9 or 8 notes around the outside, but inside, the question is which pitches are chosen. I like the D Kurd because it has one of every type of note. You can check out my video on Kurds versus Celtics where I go into this in a bit more detail. But in short, it means I can play a full scale, one of every type of note. I have a D, I have an E, I have an F, I have a G, I have an A, I have a type of B, in this case it's a B flat, and I have a C. Some handpans can skip over one of those letters, such as not having a C, not having a B, or not having a type of D. While I think that's great if you're a more advanced player, when you're learning the music theory, having one of every single one makes it so much more simple to build up your chords. Some people dislike this clashing sound which you can get with a Kurd as a beginner. But I come from classical music, and I think we start kids on pianos with 88 different notes. The trick is learning when to play each one. So having all of those options, especially if you are only going to have one handpan to start with, is really important. The D Kurd is a minor scale, which lends itself to kind of moodier playing. Which I think is really great and deep and rich. However, because it has one of every type of note, we can really easily play in a major, in a happy sound. Which is really important if you're going to get into covers or you're going to get into singing songs, because you want to have that full range of notes available to you. You don't want to be limited, have the idea of a chord in your head, and it's not on the handpan, or you need to borrow another note to play that chord. Totally possible if you don't have all of those pitches, you can do all of those things and you can achieve all those things. But I think for a beginner, it's kind of helpful to have all of that right there available on the pan. The D is also helpful because it's a kind of smallish centre note. That means that we can get a few more notes around the outside. And it means it's a really helpful key for us to play in. D is great for guitarists or piano players because it's nearly all the white notes. It's nearly all of the notes of C major. So playing in D is a really easy key for most other instrumentalists, which means it works really well with things like didgeridoos, guitars, pianos, violins, or most other things you can think of. So why a Kurd? There are other scales out there that have one of every note. I also like instruments like the sabai. But I think a D Kurd is helpful because the chord shapes are really simple. Chord 1 is these notes, or involving these two as well. We can find notes that sound really great together, close to each other. This is a chord, a chord, this is a chord, and this is a chord. Some of the other chords on this instrument are more spread out, but the ones that we really want to access a lot, the basic chords like 1 and 7, they're right easy to play and opposite each other. I don't have to do any awkward reaching to play those notes. And you can write some really easy bass lines with them. That kind of movement sounds really great, and it's just moving between two chords that are right next to each other. D and B flat. Don't have to move much, just moving one note. These are just a few of the reasons why I like D Kurd. But you could make a lot of these points for a lot of different instruments. You might choose a different pitch, a different scale to build your pan off, or a different model where the notes are laid out in a different order. If you play a handpan and you love the sound of it, that is a really great handpan for you to get. However, I do find sometimes beginners wish that they had started with a D Kurd just to make learning easier. There's no correct path for you. The most important thing is that you have an instrument that you enjoy playing. I will say, one thing that annoys me about the D Kurd is you can't get a high B flat on it. This note is only available down here in this register, and that's because of science. The way that the handpan is shaped means it's really hard for builders to put that high note at the top. So for that reason, C# chords or E chords can have a lot of flexibility and great things on them as well. So there's really no one correct instrument for everybody. My first instrument was not a D Kurd, and I was fine. I went really well with an F Equinox handpan. That's the one that resonated with me. Well, actually, that was the one I could get my hands on at that time because handpans were not as readily available as they are now. And I loved it, and I learned a lot from it. But I do think that it's useful to be guided by what you enjoy. Look around, find some videos. I've got a bunch of demos of different scales on my channel, and you can see which ones resonate with you. If you like a scale, you will like playing it. But make sure you listen to a few different videos. Just because your favourite handpan player makes that scale sound amazing, doesn't mean that it will resonate the same for you. Listen to a few different examples of people playing those same scales, and you'll start to get a feel of what that handpan sounds like. Enjoy. It is a never-ending journey of finding the right handpan, or if you really get the bug and you get hooked, as you can see, it's a continual process. We love the limitations of the handpans. We love that there's only 9 notes or 10 notes around the outside for us to play with. Within that scaffolding, so much creativity happens. But it does mean that sometimes you will hear a brand new handpan and think, oh my gosh, I would love that one as well. So yeah, enjoy. Sorry to hook you in. If you would like to get this handpan, the Meridian D Kurd, check out the link in my bio.